So Venus, how much have you enjoyed this convention?
Oh, I've enjoyed it very much. Baccarat terror.
Howdy, and welcome to what'll likely be my only third-party figure review. If you don't know, third-party figures are toys of official Transformers characters done by companies other than Hasbro and Takara. MAAS Toys released their own rendition of Pre-Earth or War Within Bumblebee, named Skiff for trademark reasons. He received several repaints, one of them being the TFNation 2017 exclusive Rune, a take on the 2002 BotCon exclusive Glyph, herself a redeco of G1 Bumblebee. TF Wiki describes this mode, not on this toy but what it's based on, as a saucer-like car. Pretty accurate, it's as wide as the former, with a cockpit shaped like the latter. It's a fairly simple design, and the deco is for the most part a straight-up palette swap of Skiff. What's yellow and black is now blue and white respectively. In terms of paint apps, well, there's not a lot on the toy overall. In this mode it's limited to the cockpit window and 2/3 of the nose, which become the hips. By contrast, there are a lot of molded details, especially compared to its show counterpart, extra panel lines, plating, turbines, thrusters and such. Meanwhile, the underside is neatly arranged and everything pegs solidly in place, including the weapons. As such, the alt mode rolls pretty smoothly on its 4 wheels, no ground clearance issues or anything. For those curious, the mold is roughly the size of an official deluxe Transformer, if slightly bigger. I don't know if it's designed to scale with Hasbro and Takara toy lines like Masterpiece or Chug, or more likely, MAAS toys are just doing their own thing. Onto the transformation, and take note of the undercarriage layout before converting Rune the first few times, as she doesn't come with any instructions. Instead, the package bubble features 2 QR codes to scan for video guides on YouTube and the Chinese site Youku. That said, they're kinda moot at this point, given all the reviews that have come out. The transformation itself is pretty involved, but not frustrating, though there are 3 details to look out for. First, those vents on her back fold up before you push the backpack into place. Second, there are a couple of ways to position the forearm kibble. What you see here is how I display mine. Finally, with the hips, make sure the side with the slight opening below the swivel is actually facing the inside, so that the legs stand closer together. I gotta say, MAAS Toys did a pretty good job here, considering it's based on a model that really doesn't lend itself to any sort of practical transformation. Instead, chunks of the vehicle shell become huge guards that broaden the shoulders, which, combined with the stocky proportions, results in a pretty powerful looking fembot, unlike the official Lith Glyph. If the vehicle is somewhat bland deco-wise, this mode adds a lot of white, and a touch of black to break up the blue, most of it being the plastic colour. The only paint introduced in this mode is on the inside of her backpack and on the face. Rune sports her own unique head sculpt from her mold brethren. It's also the only sculpt she comes with. Weird considering Glyph shares the same head/faceplate as the original Bumblebee toy, and Skiff comes with an alternate head based on said toy. The figure's advertised as having 28 points of articulation. Assuming I've done this right, from head to toe you have a head tilt and a neck swivel, 2 sets of joints in each shoulder, bicep swivels and elbows, forearm swivels and ball-jointed wrists. The former is actually easy to miss, since the kibble surrounding them is on its own swivel, that's not nearly as tight as the forearm itself. Also, the shoulder pads don't hinder the arms much, since they themselves are on ball joints. I don't count the hinges where they stem from, since they're more for the transformation, and they barely have any range to begin with. But moving on, you have a hinge mid-torso for her to lean forward, and a waist swivel. 2 sets of joints in each hip as well as thigh swivels, knees, and last but not least, ball-jointed ankles. So yeah, pretty darn posable. Rune comes with the same twin blasters as Skiff, which can store in their vehicle mode location under the shoulder guards without intruding on any of the arm articulation. Despite my disinterest in third-party figures, as a one-off purchase, I like Rune. Aside from some kibble issues, which were inevitable, let's face it, she's a well-sculpted, designed, and fairly playable figure. Sadly, unless they plan on reissuing her at this year's TFNation, you'll be lucky to get a hold of Rune at this point. She's out of stock on MAAS Toys' official site, and there's no sign of her on eBay or anywhere on the aftermarket. I won't be selling mine anytime soon, especially since the box was signed by the lovely Venus Terzo herself. I gotta say, that intro clip of Venus, meeting her face to face, it was honestly one of the most beautiful experiences of my entire life. I don't care what anyone says. And Venus? I know the chances of you happening across this video are highly unlikely to say the least. But in any case, thank you. From the bottom of my heart.